Okay, fine. Greetings, people. We are back again. We are now looking at patterns of inheritance. When we look at the patterns of inheritance, they are part of your genetics and they are very important. You will get these questions in section A in terminology, especially in 1.3 or 1.4. They will give you a statement or a terminology. Your role is to provide you the correct term for that statement. Okay, fine. Let's quickly look at what are we supposed to check when we deal with this part. It's simple. Here you must be able to define the terms. When you define the terms, you must also be able to give examples. Not exactly give examples, but be able to identify a pattern of inheritance if you are given an example in a scenario. So we have all of this. We have complete dominance, we have incomplete dominance, we have codominance, we have polygenic inheritance, epistasis, prepotency, atavism, multiple allele, sex-linked characteristics. So it's very important for you to understand them. This is how they will be examined. Please take note of this part. This is how they will be examined. In section A, you'll be given a statement. You will be expected to write the correct pattern of inheritance. So you must know the definitions. In section B, you may be given a scenario. It's a paragraph, sort of. You may be given a picture. You may be given a diagram in a form of a genetic crossing. And then they will ask you to identify the pattern of inheritance above. Or sometimes we'll talk about types of dominance. Identify the type of dominance above. You must be able to identify it. I will give you skills on identifying them. Then they will want you to provide what? A reason. Give a reason. Support your answer. Motivate your answer. They will want you to provide why you said it's complete, why you said it's epistasis, why you said it's atavism. Then in that case, most of the time here in agriculture, I once said this, most of the time when they want you to provide a reason for an identified scenario, they want you to provide a definition to explain why you said it's codominance. But that reason of yours, that definition of yours must be linked to the scenario that will be given at that point of time. So you will see how we go with it when we start to do questions. Okay, fine. Let's start to do it. In this case, we'll only focus on the three types of dominance in this session that I'm with, the three types of dominance. Let's look at the three types of dominance. We have three of them: complete dominance, incomplete dominance, and codominance. I want you to know the definition. Once you know the definition, you will then link the definition to an example. That's when you'll be able to identify it in your exam. Let's start with the first one, complete dominance. When we look at complete dominance, people, we say during this type of dominance, one allele is dominant over the other allele, which is recessive. So what is happening here, people, is that when you cross two parents, there is one gene that will be dominant over the other gene. As a result, the offsprings that we'll have will show the characteristics of the dominant gene. What am I saying? We are saying, people, here, a gene that is dominant on the parents is the one that will be shown on the phenotype of the offsprings. Let me give you an example. Here we have an example of what? Of a purebred white face bull that is crossed with a purebred black face bull. For white, they've used capital letter Q. For black, they've used small letter q. Now they make a cross. They cross the two parents. They cross the two parents, the white one and the black cow. When they cross the two parents, this offspring, capital letter Q, capital letter Q, capital letter Q, capital letter Q. It means all the first generation are what? They are white. Since they are white, it means white is dominant over black. Then what type of a dominance is this one? We say it's complete dominance. Why we say it's complete dominance? Looking at the last bullet, we say the white color is dominant over the black color. Since it completely, can I please underline this one? It completely overshadowed the black color. All the offsprings have a phenotype of the dominant gene, and that dominant gene in this case, it's what? It's white. So what I want you to understand here is that when you are given this, look at the parents, then look at the offspring, which is the end product, the offspring of the F1 generation. When the offspring, when the phenotype of the offspring is similar to one of the two parents, it means that parent is dominant over the other, or that parent was completely dominant over the other parent. In this case, we have white and black. White is dominant over what? Black. Why we say white is dominant over black? It's because the offsprings are white. It means white completely overshadowed what? The effect of the black color. I hope you get me. I'm saying look at the parents plus the offspring. If ingane ifana nomzalo yedwa kusho ukuthi yini? I-complete dominance. Let's go to this one. Okay, here it's just an enlargement so that you can see clearly, but it's the repetition of what we've checked there, whereby we say the white color is dominant over the black color. Sikubona ngani lokho ngoba ingane zonke sifana nalomzali onjani o-white. Let me focus on this one. I'm sorry, I will take time when I explain the incomplete dominance, but I hope that at the end of it all, it will be helpful. Incomplete dominance, we say, is a mechanism of inheritance that produces a heterozygous with a phenotype that is intermediate, or we say in between the phenotypes of the two parents, of the homozygote parents. I then added that it produces a third phenotype. What is happening here, people? We are crossing two parents. When we cross the two parents, we get an offspring that will be heterozygous. On top of that, this offspring, the phenotype of the offspring, is intermediate. What does that mean? Or else they say in between. What does that mean? It means the offspring is not similar to neither of the two parents. I-offspring ayifani nalabazali abawu-2. It has an intermediate phenotype, or the phenotype is in between the phenotypes of the parents. Ngase ngiyayi-add la ngenza sengathi it produces what? A third phenotype. Let's look at the example. Let's look at the example. But what I want you to understand here is that you cross two parents, lengane le ngeke ifane ne-parent eyodwa kulawa awu-2. Ake siyibheke kodwa. Nansi example. What is happening here? What is happening here? We are crossing a red flower with a white flower. Please take note of the alleles that we use here. I've used CR for red, CR for red, then CW for white and CW for white. So it's simple like that. But in some cases, you'll find that for red, they use these alleles for red, they use these alleles for white. But don't worry about that. Then here we just decided to use CR, CR, CW, CW. Okay, fine. Let's check what is happening. What is happening here, people? We are crossing a red flower and a white flower. We get an offspring in the F1 generation. Please, let's look at, so when you make a cross, you make a cross here and here. You get what? You get this offspring. Can we please look at the phenotype of the offspring? They are saying it's what? It's pink. Is it red? No. Is it white? No. What is the color of the offspring? It's pink. What did I say it here? We said it produces what? An intermediate characteristic, which is what? Which is a third phenotype. What does that tell us? It means that here we cross o red no white, sathola ingane enjani? A pink. If ubheka upink, pink is what? It's intermediate, or it's in between red and white. And on top of that, it is a third phenotype. Ayifani no red, ayifani no white. Hence I said earlier on, you cross the two homozygotic parents and then you get the end product that will have an intermediate phenotype that is a third phenotype, or we say it is in between. So when I yazi ukuthi ngaso sonke isikhathi mabakunika iscenario bathi ucross abazali abawu-2, mawucross abazali abawu-2, mawubona ukuthi le ngane ephumile ine-characteristic yesithathu, white red. White is number 1, red is number 2. Bese siba nenye yesithathu manje, which is pink. Then we can say it's what? It's an incomplete dominance. Let me assist you to understand this. In this case, people, they will ask you to provide a phenotypic ratio of the second generation. What is the phenotypic ratio of the second generation? Let's look at it. Masifuna ukuthola i-second generation, sithatha le ngane lezi zaku F1 generation si-cross ezoyi-2 ne, bese sithola ini i-second generation. So here they've taken the offsprings, lawo ma-offsprings bawa crosser O2, then base bathola ini i-second generation. So what has happened here? Sifuna ukubheka ukuthi what is the phenotypic ratio of this second generation? They've crossed this CR and CR, bathola CR. This CR, it represents what? Red. So what is the color of this flower? It's red. Now we have one red. They've crossed CR and CW. We got CW. CW represent what? Pink. As we see that it's pink here. They've crossed CW, CR, CR, CW, it means what is the color? It's pink. They've crossed CW, CW, then we get CW, CW again. What is the color? It's white. What was the question? The question was, what is the phenotypic ratio of the second filial generation? Let's look at it. How many red do we have? This one is red, this one is pink, this one is pink, this one is white. So we have one red. How many pink do we have? One, two. So we'll have two pink. How many white do we have? It's one. So we'll have one white. So what is the phenotype of the second filial generation? It's 1:2:1. One red, two pink, one white. They like to ask this question. Always recall that the phenotypic ratio of the second filial generation in an incomplete dominance, it's 1:2:1. This is the phenotypic ratio. What is the phenotypic ratio? Sorry, the genotypic ratio. Even the genotypic ratio will be 1:2:1. It's still the same. We will look at it how we identify it. Okay, fine. Let's also look at it here. It's just a repetition of where we are coming from. We are crossing a red flower, white flower. Then here are your gametes after meiosis here, where there was the law of segregation, whereby the gametes separate so that each individual has its characteristics. Then here you have the F1 generation. What is the color? It's pink. Pink is awufani no red, awufani nobani no white. Ukusho ukuthini lokho? Kusitshela ukuthi this is what? This is an incomplete incomplete dominance, because we have what? We have a third phenotype. That is what? That is intermediate. That's how we explain it. Then we move on to have the first generation. Sesiya crossisa manje ne sithola the second generation. FR represent what? Red. FW represent what? Pink. FW represent what? White. So this is my red, this is pink, this is what? This is white. How many red? 1. How many pink? 2. How many white? 1. What is the phenotypic ratio? 1:2:1. Simple. I hope you get it. Okay, fine. Just to add, as I said I will take my precious time here. Sometimes they will want you to provide it in percentages. They will want you to provide a phenotypic ratio or genotypic ratio in percentages, or as they will say, how many percentage of pink offspring in the second generation. It's simple. You come here, how many pink do we have? There are 2. So we'll say 2 over what? 4. Multiply by 100. Then what will be our answer? It will be 50. I hope I'm right. It will be 50. Even for the red one, it will be 1 over 4 multiplied by 100. We get what? 25%. Even here we have what? Percent. So that is the simplest part of an incomplete dominance. Let's quickly finish everything by looking at the codominance, which is the last one. Codominance, we say, is a mechanism of inheritance whereby one pair of allele is responsible for the production of two distinct characteristics. So what is happening here, people? You cross two parents. When you cross the two parents, the offspring will show both the characteristics of the two parents. What am I saying? When you cross two parents in codominance, the offspring will show both the characteristics of the parents. Hence we say this allele of the offspring, it produces what? Two distinct characteristics. So in this case, people, what is happening is that, if I can read the second bullet, if I can read it for you, they say the new offspring shows the phenotypes from both parents since both alleles are equally dominant. Both alleles influence the phenotype. Both alleles influence the phenotype. In which way? Then they say neither one of the gene is dominant over the other. Then the last bullet they say, which is crucial, the offspring will have a combination of two phenotypes. In this case, it's a situation la kubanjani khona ingane zakwethu. Sorry, it's a situation la uthola khona ukuthi le nkomo lezi ezingamabalabala ne uthola ukuthi sithi ibatom itha ibe mnyama kodwa ibe namabalabala njani amhlophe, noma itha ibe mhlophe namabalabala njani amnyama, ne noma itha ibe bovu ibe namabalabala njani amhlophe. Sometimes we say that animal is wrong, ne? So in that case, both the characteristics of the parents, they are visible. You can even write it down. In codominance, you can even write it down. Both characteristics of the two parents are visible on the phenotype of the offspring. Let's look at it. Example. You cross a white cat with a black cat. The new offspring will have both black and white. We said both characteristics of the parents are visible on what? On the phenotype of the offspring. In this case, we have crossed white and black. Ingane le ibonisa in white phinde ibonisa bani no black. Uyayibona ukuthi itha ibe black kodwa ibe siba namabalabala anjani a white. So in this case, both the characteristics, the black and white, is visible on the law. If we talk about Keckley, we're gonna say that this animal is what is wrong, whereby it is black in color with what? With white patches. Black besiba namabalabala anjani a white. That is the simplest part of this. That is the simplest part of this. So when you must understand it in that way. There are three types of dominance: complete dominance, incomplete dominance, and co-dominance. Complete dominance, or before that, I said to you, for you to understand it, look at the parents and the offspring. I said, look at the parents and the offspring. If lo ku black, lo ku white, ingane ifane no black, ibe black, kusho ukuthi black is complete dominant of what? Over white. It's complete dominance. But once ingane yangabi black, yangabi white, yaba ngenye color, it's a third phenotype that is produced there, which is an intermediate one, incomplete. Number 3, once about black no white, yaso niba mabalabala. It's what? It's a codominance. Let's summarize it using this information. I'm just making a summary. We'll look at these 3, we'll read, and then you will help me to identify them. I so wish that we're in a classroom so that we'll assist each other. I so wish we had a face-to-face interaction. Okay, fine. Let's look at them. Let's start with this one. They say a white bull is crossed with a black cow. Now we know the parents. Kune-white ne-black. Kufanele manje sazi ukuthi ingane ke injani. Once wathola ukuthi injani ikhala yengane, kuzokusiza ukwazi ukuthi yipi i-dominance. Now they say the offsprings in the F1 generation are all black. You are crossing a white bull, black cow. Ingane zinjani? Zi-black. So ingane zifana namuphi umzali? No black cow. Kusho ukuthi u-black is what? Is dominant over white. So black is completely dominant over white. So we can then conclude that dominance 1 is what? Complete dominance. Why? Because the black color was completely dominant over the white color. That is your reasoning. Let's look at number 2. A white cat is crossed with a black cat. I'm just making an example for you to understand it. A white cat is crossed with a black cat. So we're crossing a white cat and a black cat. Now the focus is where? On the offspring. The offsprings in the F1 generation are all gray. How interesting it is. It's cross white, no black, sesithola gray. Kusho ukuthi gray uyini? Sino 1 white, 2 black, then bese siba nesithathu gray. Ukusho ukuthi ugray sihlobo sami uyini? Uyi-third phenotype. Enjani? Intermediate. That means it's what? It's an incomplete phenotype. Number 3. A white bull is crossed with a black cow. It's cross enjani? A white. See cross an enjani? Ne black. What is happening? The offspring is black with white patches. The offspring is black. And when the offspring is black, bese liba namabalabala anjani? A white. Okusho ukuthini lokho sihlobo sami? It means it's a co-dominance. That is the simplest part here. You look at the parents and the offspring. If ingane ifana nomzali oyedwa, it's complete dominance. If ingane ingafani nanoma ngayimuphi umzali futhi ingabonisi ngisho nekhala encane ne-characteristics encane kulabazali abawu-2, kusho ukuthi kune-third phenotype lapho, it's incomplete dominance. If ingane ibonisa lama character omayi-2 avela, omayi-2 ayavela kule ngane, it's co-dominance. Co, we can even take it from contribution. They both contribute on the phenotype of the offspring. Hence we say it's black and white. And then remember that we say sometimes it's wrong. Thank you. Questions after that will follow. Thank you. So that is the simplest part of it. Thank you.